Welcome to the OSC 17 on business model design and innovation. This talk will be presented by Professor Liu, and I leave her the floor to explain us all about this topic. Professor, when you're ready, you can start the course.
Hello, yes, okay. Hello, good afternoon, everyone. This afternoon, I'm going to introduce you to business modeling, so how to design and innovating business models. It's going to be a relatively short talk, and then we can have some questions at the end of the presentation. We're going to have a look at the definition for business model. If we talk about a business model, we need to understand what it means. Some of the key dimensions when we design a business model. If we go into more details, then what are those key components or building blocks we can use to put them together, form a business model? I'll show you some of the winning business models as examples. So you know you can, if you want to put together a business model, how you can do it. And if you want to keep a business successful over time, business model, like any other products or services we provide for customers, we need innovation. So that's the plan for the presentation. Now, first of all, what business model is important? A lot of businesses we see these days, such as Amazon, Apple, Skype, Netflix, now, these are all businesses I'm sure all of you are very familiar with. Now, for example, Amazon, it is a very successful bookseller, but it does not own a single brick and mortar bookstore like any other bookshops on the high street. Apple sells a lot of music, owns a lot of money, but it does not actually sell CDs. Skype, we know it very well, of course. So it is the largest telecommunication provider. However, it does not own its own network infrastructures. All the successful businesses, why can they make so much money or so successful? It's not because of the products they actually create. It is the business models they use. We can see some opposite stories as well. The Kodak, for example. All of you are relatively young. I do not know whether you actually used or have heard stories from your parents. In the past, like in 1990s, 1980s, when we used to take photos, Kodak, absolutely one of the most famous companies which provided films. So we all went to buy Kodak films, put into cameras, take photos. Nowadays, of course, we take digital photos. We do not need all of those films anymore. So that's why the business model Kodak could not innovate in time, and then the whole company, it was so successful and then went bankruptcy. Motorola, Nokia. The Motorola, of course, you are in computer science, all of you know it very well. like our first mobile phone came from Motorola. In business management, we used to talk about quality management using Motorola as the example case study in most of the textbooks. But however, these days, Motorola and Nokia, they are not the major player in mobile phone industry anymore. So business models are really important for us, no matter what businesses we run. So what is a business model? In one short sentence, basically, a business model should provide us with a big picture or an overall picture to show how a business actually creates or delivers value to our customers. I have highlighted 4 words in here for you. So by defining the who, that means the customers, who we create products or services for, the what, so what we can offer to customers, and the how can we create those products or services and deliver them to the customers, and why of course means we give product services to customers. As a business, we need to keep ourselves relatively healthy and wealthy, so we need to make money. So those 4 words, who, what, how, and why of a business, link them together as an overall picture to show any business. So that is what we call it, a business model. So based on this definition, then we can look at some of the details of the 4 key dimensions we've just seen from those 4 highlighted words. So who, what, how, and why. The who, of course, it means the customers. If we want to have a successful business, we need people to pay us. Otherwise, the business will not last for very long. So we need to know our customers. And then if we want our customers to pay us, we need a good reason. That means we need to offer them something really valuable in their eyes. So we need to have a value proposition. And if we want to provide those value, most likely either products or services or both. In some businesses, products dominate. In some other businesses, service dominates. So whether they are products dominated, like the car manufacturing, we buy a car, that's the major thing. And then we get service as a minor plus. If we go to bank, we get service as a major proposition. And then in the meantime, we may get some small products as well. If we want to draw cash, for example, out of bank, we need to have bank cards. They need to provide cash machines, etc. So most likely these days, businesses' value proposition is a combination of products and services. Just in some cases, products dominate, or in some other cases, service dominates. How we create those products and services, we need to have something inside the business, organize proper processes, deliver them through proper chains. So that's why the how dimension is about the whole value chain. And then we have this question to ask ourselves. We provide products, services to customers. How are we going to survive? We need to pay our own customers. We need to pay our own staff. We need to keep the business going. We need to reinvest. So the profit is really important for any businesses. So those 4 dimensions will form a business model. Now I'm going to break those 4 dimensions down into more details and explain to you 9 key components that can build a business model for us. So firstly, we look into the details of customers. The first building block would be the customer segments. We can have different types of customers. We can classify our customers into different groups, and then we can create products or services better customized, personalized. So the number 1 building block, of course, is the customer segments. We understand who we are serving. And then we also need to manage good relationships with our customers. So we've got the second building block, customer relationships. So those 2 building blocks derived from the who dimension, customer. And then for the value proposition, there is nothing else. It's basically the group or the combination of products and services we provide to our customers. If we want money from our customers, they may want something very specific, or we can create some products or services to serve a lot of customers. That's the third building block we can use. Value chain is slightly more complex dimension. So number 1 thing we need to understand, if we want to create good products or services to customers, we need the resources. Now we need the right people to do things. We need the facilities, we need the computers, we need buildings, we need transportation tools, for example, lots of things. So all resources, even financial resources. So we need resources to do it. And then we also need to organize the resources we have into proper processes, undertake the right activities, and complete the tasks. So that's why we've got key resources, key activities related to the whole dimension. And then most likely these days, because of the business environment changes so fast, many businesses, many companies, they do not have all the resources or all the activities undertaken by themselves. They can outsource, they can use partnerships, they can get help from outside the company or businesses, especially when businesses go globalization. So we have a lot of partnerships, use their resources in their activities, even buy components or parts from other businesses. For example, if we want to create computers, if we want to create cars, we can get a lot of small component parts from other partners. We keep the key components. We create, for example, for cars, we create engines. That's absolutely the core part. It has more value, can give us the keep us in the key position in the value chain. But we can get small parts from other businesses. So that's another key building block is key partnerships. Channels. Channels basically means how we communicate with our customers and then deliver the right products and services to the right customers. So we need to talk to them, get the feedback from them. How do they view our development of products and services? Even get them involved in the design process. Ask what they want, what they prefer. I'm going to give you some examples later. So in association with the value chain or the whole dimension, we have 4 building blocks: key resources, key activities, key partnerships, and channels. And then finally, related to the why dimension, we have revenue streams, we have cost structures. Now, most of you, if you have some business knowledge, you will know profit actually is the revenue minus cost. So revenue is what you generate through income, and then you take away the cost you have already, the money you have already spent, and then what's left for you is the profit. So those two building blocks related to the why or the profit mechanism. So altogether, there are 9 of them. These 9 building blocks are the core components. Normally, for a business model, people will look for. So, in association with customers, we understand which groups of customers we serve and how to manage relationships with customers. And then we tell them what we can offer to those different groups of customers and how we can create, what resources do we need, investments we need, how can we organize resources into activities, what activities we can do inside the company, what activities we can outsource from outside, from our partners, and then how we communicate and deliver the actual products or services to the customers. We also need to make money to maintain the business. Of course, we need to consider the cost. Do not let costs running out of control. So those 9 building blocks, the 3 related to the who and the what. So they are externally visible to your customers a little bit more. The other 6 building blocks related to the value chain and the profit mechanism. Most likely it's internal to your company. You do a lot of things. You do not have to tell your customers everything, especially the cost structure, revenue stream. Now, how you organize resources and activities. It's not a problem to tell your customers, but most likely your customers may not be that interested. So the how and the why dimensions, they are relatively internal to business. So those are the 9 building blocks we can have to build a business model. I'm going to show you a little bit more details about these 9 building blocks. So hopefully we'll give you a little bit more insights. Number 1, customer segments, of course. Customer segments basically says what different groups of customers you are going to target. If you create cars, are you targeting at like BMW or Mercedes? You really aim at the high-end market, or you want to create some sports cars targeting at young people, or just want to create some cars for family use, economical, relatively convenient, and not too expensive. So we need to understand what customer groups you target at, and then your products and services will be slightly different or very different. This is based on market research usually. So different types of markets we need to understand. Are you going to aim at a mass market? That means you create products with very similar functions because you are targeting at broadly similar customers. Now, for example, iPhones from Apple. Most likely the products offered to European market, Asian market, or other markets, majority of the functions are similar. Most customers, they have similar needs. So that's a mass market you can target at. Also, there is a niche market a lot of businesses will target at. So you offer very specialized, tailored service to a small group of customers. You spot a niche in the market. Not many other businesses offer similar products or services, especially for those businesses who enter the market as a new entrants. Segmented target market. You can have different groups of markets, as we mentioned earlier. Are you looking at mostly like often to women's clothes, men's clothes? In the UK, for example, even though you are offering different clothes to different types of users, most likely in the UK, weather is the same for both men and women. People like what they do. They like gardening, so you can offer this relatively very comfortable clothes for them to do gardening, or offer clothes for them to go hiking, walking in the countryside. So not big difference. If you create products and services to offer to customers with very different needs, that is what we call diversified markets. So different types of markets, any businesses, any companies, if they want to be relatively successful, they are very clear about what market they want to go for, so they can focus on creating the products and services those types of customers will be willing to pay us. So that's the customer segments building block. Now the second is the customer relationships. Now in business management, of course, we have specialized course, customer relationship management. But what it basically says is what types of relationships you want to have with your customers. You want to have good relationships with your customers. Keep them with you, because customers otherwise can switch to buy different products very easily. They can go to other companies. That's why we spend a lot of effort to make connections with our customers. However, we also need to consider, are we able to afford a lot of money to keep the relationships, or we can just do some relatively simple maintenance? And then different types of things we can do is really valuable customers, we may give them personal assistance. Like, for example, if you've got some personal experience when you visit banks, for those bank customers, if they own over £1 million, for example, €1 million in the bank, when they always give you personal assistance, they want to offer you personalized human interaction and service. For most customers, if like our savings in the bank is not that much, most likely if we have problems, we can only make phone calls, and then they let you wait for ages before they take your phone calls, or most likely you get it online. So we do not get this personal assistance. And some businesses, of course, to save money, they will offer self-service, or most likely automated service. People then can get the service done relatively easily. For example, these days, a lot of travel agents, we can book most of the holidays online. Communities, that's a really clever way for business to do. We just need to connect our users together, and then they will exchange their knowledge, their experience. They may offer advice to solve each other's problems. So that's user communities is a really good way for business these days. And the last one, I do not know whether many of you have heard of before, co-creation. In the past, when we run business, we used to just to sell products or services to customers, and then we'll just say, okay, they are customers, we are business providers. Most likely ignore businesses ignore the customers unless get to the very final stage. But these days, a lot of very clever businesses, they get customers involved at very early stages to ask what they want. Do you come to give us some of the specifications of your car, for example? Do you want some extra functions? So get customers in the process, design process very early to co-create value for them. Now, the most common ones we use, for example, YouTube, all of us know. All of us can upload on videos and then share with others. But as the business, they get a lot of benefits through adverts or any other means. So that's lots of good ways to keep customers satisfied. And the third building block value proposition, very simple, basically says what combination of products and services we can create and deliver to our customers. That's most likely is the thing where our customers want to pay us. We can create some very new products and other business I'm not in yet. For example, when mobile phones first came, in the past we had landline phones most likely, and then mobile phone came to offer something totally new or offer better performance. Computers, for example, in the past relatively slow, and then we had computers very fast with a lot more storage space and a lot better graphics for visualization. A good brand, now that's most likely related to luxury products. A lot of us, we have strong comments on luxury products. Are they really that good, that high quality? But it does not matter sometimes, because people, they think they get a good brand. They use, for example, luxury brands. They think they could give them a social status. They think they wear a Rolex watch, for example. It shows they are very wealthy. And if they use, for example, Chanel perfume, they think, okay, at least they can afford it. So a brand, it's not always associated with high quality products. Most often it should, but the brand itself gives customers a lot of satisfaction, especially in socialization. Or we can offer something at relatively good price. For example, the airline Ryanair EasyJet, a few pounds you can get from London to Paris sometimes. Risk reduction, of course, insurance companies, convenience. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have iPods and iTunes used, so you can listen to music anywhere. In the past, when we needed to listen to music, we needed to have those huge radio devices to have karaoke or something, listening to music, very big devices, and nowadays it's so easy. So that's the value proposition building block. Key resources, by the name itself, that means we need some assets, real things to get the job done. Physical, intellectual, human resource, or financial resources. Of course, physical resources we can see very clearly. Tangible facilities, buildings, machines, computers we use. Intellectual, sometimes it's slightly less visible. For example, the brands we own, the knowledge we have, patents, customer base, especially for business, customer base. A lot of people, they may not see the value of customer base. Actually, it's very important. That's why sometimes when people move from one company to another one, if they have a lot of customer contacts, it's very dangerous. for the existing company to lose those people. The different key resources we need to execute the jobs in order to create products or services. Key activities, that is, we need to do things. We have the resources, we organize them into proper processes and then do things. So that's the do part. If we need to deliver products, we need to create them, manufacture them first. If it's a service-dominated business, then we provide solutions. Patients, they have pain. They come to hospitals. We need to offer them how can cure the illness. Or even more often these days, we just offer maybe not a car, not medicine, not advice. We just provide a platform or a network so that people can actually be connected and then get business. They can exchange things. For example, eBay. So that's how business is done, through a platform. The key partnerships most likely is what supplies we need and what partners we can outsource our products or part of the business, and then we can assemble everything together. Now, there are lots of different purposes, for example, to reduce the risk or reduce uncertainty, to achieve economy of scale, to get access to particular resources and activities. Now, if a few years back, we see a lot of manufacturing businesses. They established lots of factories, for example, in China, in India, like BMW, Mercedes, Citroen. They all had established factories in Asia, in South America, or in other places, because when you have factories built up there, you have access to the local resources, the local capabilities, local people, skills. Yes. Channels, that means how we communicate and distribute our products and services to the customers. A lot of things we are already familiar with. For example, you can do direct or indirect. Direct sales, we have lots of stores on high streets, that's most often. Now you can also use partners stores, physical or online. Of course, a lot of people do online shopping these days, so that's how business can sell their products, services, wholesale, retailing, all different types of channels we can reach our customers. Revenue streams. If we want to make a successful business, we need income. We create products, create services, offer them to our customers. Cannot do everything for free. So we need income. How to identify those income sources? We can sell assets directly. For example, we sell products, we sell cars. That's most often you get customers come to pay for your products, their real assets. The usage, for example, the hotel rooms, how many nights they use, then they pay how much. They do not actually, customers do not actually buy the hotel rooms or don't buy the building. Airline seats, it's the same. We do not need to buy the whole airline from London to Paris. We only need to use the seat. I just need one seat or two seats and then pay for that. Subscription fees, that's a different type. We get gym memberships. We subscribe a lot of other things at home as well, to watch the cable television, to use the Wi-Fi maybe. So lots of other things. Also use renting or leasing, lending, to get access for a fixed period of the service or products. Licensing for you guys in IT should be very familiar with it. You know, most of the software we buy, we get licensing fees. And for companies, businesses, sometimes they offer their patents for other companies to use, for example, 10 years, then they get charged. Advertising, a lot of media industries, event organizers, Google, YouTube, Skype, they all do advertising as well. Any sources for income is welcome by the businesses themselves. We just want to increase, maximize the income we can get anytime, basically. When we talk about business revenues, we need to consider, because if we want to charge our customers, so pricing is a key thing we need to consider as well. So how we charge our customers, so the pricing mechanisms in order to maximize the profit. Most likely two categories. One is fixed menu pricing, and then the other one is dynamic pricing. So of course, fixed pricing means you have predefined prices based on the static variables. On the other hand, prices can also change based on the market conditions. Then that would be the dynamic pricing mechanism. So on the left-hand side in the table, we have 4 different types of fixed menu pricing mechanisms. You can offer list price, just, okay, this is the list of price, how much for what products, how much for what services you get. That is basically what you need to pay. There is no change. There is no argument needed. So product feature dependent. Some of the products we create and offer to our customers, we give them a little bit of flexibility. So the price will depend on the number or the quality of value proposition. Features. If you want to have more features, you pay more. If you want to have fewer functions, for example, we can buy a relatively simple phone just to make phone calls. Or these days you can buy an iPhone. You can use the iPhone to take photos, to do text, to do loads of other things apart from making phone call. So that depending on the product features. Or customer segment dependent. Depending on which group of customers, you can have different price. If you know those customers are relatively wealthy, they can afford a little bit more. Then when you go to that market, you can personalize the products a little bit, but not that much cost, and then you get a lot of return. Volume dependent, the most likely, especially for B2B business, business to business trading, we offer a volume dependent pricing mechanism. For example, you will say if you buy 1,000 units, the price is this. If you buy 5,000, then the price will be lower. And then if you increase to 1 million units, the price will be even lower. So that's how the volume dependent pricing mechanism works. Now on the right hand side, we have 4 different types of dynamic pricing mechanism. Negotiation or bargain, that happens very often if we go to a market. We can say, okay, this is how much I think it's worth, and that is how much you want. If we shake hands on what, for example, antiques dealing, most likely negotiate, lots of rounds of negotiation. Yield management, it's a strange term. A lot of people do not like yield management, the term. But what it basically means is the price will depend on how many units left in the inventory, or how many rooms left in a hotel, or how many airline seats still available. Now, when we go to book airline or flight, we see this very vividly. If you book your flight tickets earlier, because there are more seats available earlier, usually get a good price. Every day after some certain time, because there are very few seats available anymore, and then they will increase the price vastly. So that is what yield management basically means. Real-time market based on supply and demand. Now, how much price we can charge? There is a misconception for many people. They think how many pounds they charge you for a phone, for example, really shows the value of the product or the quality. Sometimes it's not. It's based on how much people are willing to pay. Our price usually is determined by the market. If there are more people, the demand from the market is a lot higher than what we can provide by the business provider, then the price will go up very quickly. Otherwise, if the demand is very low, and then we lower the price. Auction, we have seen this possibly through eBay and many of other auction rooms. So a lot of people go together. Different types of auction. If they start with a low price, then the bidders will offer higher and higher price. Whoever offer is the highest, they will get the product or the service. And you can also go reverse auction as well. Go to the other way. They start with a very high price, and then whoever. Usually the business providers, you have a number of them, then who can offer you the product or service with the lowest price, then I buy it from that business provider. So different pricing mechanisms.